Alright guys, Vengeance 3.0 is here, so I'm going to be giving you guys all 7 of the classes and how I would run them as DPS builds. So this one, it's kind of just came with it. I was looking at everything, and this is what I would run for Warden, because I'm not going to waste your time. I'm just going to get right into it. This is kind of exactly how it would run down. I was looking at everything between the skills, between everything, and honestly, I think that this is the best way to go. So I would go 2H. I just realized that my webcam's on the wrong side. I would go 2H, and I would do Vengeance Uppercut. I would do Falcon Swiftness. I would do Betty Netch. I would do Scorch, and I would do Reverse Slash with a combination of Berserker Strike, because I was looking at the difference between Berserker Strike and Dawnbreaker, and Berserker Strike just looked a little bit better because you get a ton of resistances afterwards, and it can be mitigated too. So I kind of like the idea of that, and so personally, I think that's kind of the way to go. Back bar, I like Leeching Vines because if you do a combo of that and then Resolving Vigor, it gives you a lot of heals over time between the two of them, so it's amazing. Lotus Flower is going to give you a source of Major Mending, Major Prophecy, and Savagery, so that's going to increase your healing significantly. It's going to increase your overall critical percentage a bunch, and then also Arctic Wind is going to give you a bunch of a slight little burst heal as well. So having that burst heal mixed with Vigor and Living Vines, definitely the way to go. And then I have Frostcloak, which is also going to be your source of Major Resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 6,000. And then I've got Secluded Grove. I was looking at the difference between Secluded Grove and Sleet Storm, and Sleet Storm doesn't really do too much for you. I'm used to this being a source of damage, and it wasn't really that much damage. There wasn't any damage on there, so I didn't go with this. So I like Secluded Grove for that. For these, it's just a great way to combo your ability. Betty Netch is a great way to get Major Berserk, so increase your overall damage. So that is why I'm running everything that I'm running there, and let's get on to the next thing, I guess. Alright, as for the Dragonknight class, I would go with this as my setup. I would do, as our main spammable, I would do Lava Whip, but DK is not really a spammable type of class because you want to combo your other abilities. So definitely Lava Whip is your first ability. Petrify so that you can CC them, so that's a perfect way to kind of drain your enemy's stam. Dark Talons to immobilize them, so if you immobilize them first and they roll dodge then they CC, that's a great way to waste your enemy's stamina. Searing Strike is a nice little bit of dot pressure as well. Fiery Breath is a nice extra way of instant burst potential, but not really too much burst potential, but mostly as a source of dot pressure as well, because both Searing Strike and Fiery Breath are on a 5-second dot duration, so it's not that much, but it does do a little bit over time, and it's nice. I've got Dragon Leap as well, which is a nice kind of form of burst damage. If you can combo Dragon Leap with your dots on there, and then also Lava Whip them, it's a nice bit of damage. Then we've got Inferno on here, which is going to be a source of Major Berserk, so it's going to increase your overall damage done by 10%. I've got Regeneration on here, which is going to be a heal over time for yourself, because you kind of need heals over time in Vengeance, especially if you want 2 of them. So having Regeneration on there, then Vigor on there, both of those are a great way to heal yourself up, back up to full. If you combo those together, you'll be able to stay alive a lot better. Dragon's Blood is going to be a nice source of burst heal. It's going to heal you for 35% of your missing health, so it's not going to do the most amounts, but it is really good if you combo that, especially with Vigor and Regeneration. That's how you do it. And then Spiked Armor, which is going to be your source of Major Resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 6,000 for 30 seconds. And then back bar, we've got the Resto Staff Ultimate, which is going to give you a little bit of health, but it's not the most amount. I was kind of debating on using something else. I was kind of debating on using Magma Armor because, look, you get 15,000 health back, which is really not that much. So, you know what? Actually, I'm going to say Magma Armor. We're going to... Actually, nope. Yeah. We're gonna do Magma Armor. I think Magma Armor is a little bit more important, so I would definitely do that instead. So we're definitely gonna go with Magma Armor on that one. All right, so third we have Sorc. So for Sorc, I'm gonna do something kind of a little bit different than what they gave me. I kind of switched a few things around because it made more sense this way. So to start off with, we're going to be using Foreshock as our source of kind of burst potential. And then I put Surge on the front bar because I looked at it and it gives you minor Berserk just for having this slotted. So increases your damage done by 5%. So that's nice. But I looked at it and the difference between having it on my front bar and back bar, it actually increases the rest of your damage. So it was just kind of a waste to have it on the back bar. I think it's just force a habit for them. So I put Surge on the front bar. So that's going to increase all your other sources of damage when you're doing damage. I also have Weakness to Elements. This is going to be your source of Major Breach in your enemies, reducing their physical and spell resistance by 6,000. I've got Bolt Escape, which is going to be your CC, also going to be your kind of way to get out of dodge, more or less. And then we've got Daedric Curse, so if you could line up your Daedric Curse with your Force Pulse and then your other abilities, it's a nice form of extra burst potential. And then we've got Overload, which is going to be kind of just a great way to just overall keep your damage up at all times. If you combo your Overload with Daedra Curse and then Force Shock, you're going to be just chunking your enemy's health bars, I promise you. Also, we have Conjured Ward, which is going to be your shield on this build, so that's going to be a great way to kind of mitigate a lot of incoming damage. We've got Lightning Form, which is going to be your source of Mage Resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 6,000. We've got Resolving, well, it's not really Resolving Vigor, it's just regular Vigor. 6-second heal over time. Dark Exchange, you're going to be reducing stamina, and you're going to be getting magic and health back in return. Then also, you're going to be using Regeneration, which is going to be a nice 6-second heal over time to give you, you know, that and Resolving Vigor. It's a great way to just get your heals back up. And then I put Stormmatcher on my back bar because I kind of like the way this looks instead. I think they had Barrier on here instead. For me, I'd rather have that damage because these heal ultimates aren't that great. Like, I was looking at these heal ults and it just isn't that impressive to me, so I'm not even using them. So Stormmatcher is the kind of thing where it's like, okay, cool, that could actually be interesting in the heat of the moment. All right, I seriously switched things around for Templar. So for Templar, I took off jabs completely because jabs didn't look good in my opinion. I put on uppercut instead. Then I mixed it with momentums to get a little bit of minor force, also minor endurance as well to increase our overall stamina recovery. Also that minor force giving us critical damage. Piercing Javelin as a nice CC, especially on the bridge. You guys know, if you remember me from last Vengeance campaign, I loved this ability. Backlash is going to be a source of extra burst damage, which, look, if you combo that with your other abilities, that's a nice way to combo up and line up your damage. Radiant Destruction, which is going to be your execute on this build. Radial Sweep, I was looking at the difference between this and 2H Ultimate, and this is literally half the cost. So I'm just using Radial Sweep instead. I've got Rune Focus, which is going to be our source of Major Resolve, increasing our physical and spell resistance by 6,000. Cleansing Ritual, which is going to cleanse 3 negative effects from yourself. Resolving Vigor, which is a nice 6-second heal over time. Rush Ceremony, which is going to be your burst heal on this ability. And then also Weakness to Elements, and I just realized that I put the wrong thing on. Weakness to Elements is going to give us a source of... it's going to be our source of Major Breach. So it's going to reduce the enemy's physical and spell resistance by 6,000 for 30 seconds. So that's great. And then back bar, I've got Rite of Passage, which is going to be a nice heal to help you just for the next 3 seconds. So it's not ideal. I wouldn't really know what else to run as a as an ultimate on the back bar, but I don't know. For me, I think that's probably the best way to go. I wouldn't know what else to do. Maybe Warhorn to increase your overall recovery, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't on this build, so that's what I'm running for Templar. All right, so for Nightblade, I would run this instead. I would run as my main spammable. Obviously, we're gonna use Veiled Strike. That's kind of gonna be your best source of just consistent damage. Shadow Cloak, that way is gonna be a nice way to kind of mitigate a lot of damage by just going invisible. Drain Power, this is going to be your source of minor force, so it's going to increase your overall critical damage done by 10%, so you kind of want that. Also, it's going to be a nice little AoE cone, so it's going to do damage to people in an area. Assassin's Blade, this is going to be your execute on here, so when your enemies are below 25% health, use this ability, and you're going to be able to secure that elimination. Grim Focus, this is going to be kind of a damage that you could do every 5 seconds. So this is on a 5-second cooldown, so it's kind of nice with that. So if you just use that every 5 seconds, it does more damage than any of your other abilities. So make sure you're just using that on your 5-second mark. Also, we've got Deathstroke on here, which is going to be kind of our in cap. Also, if you look at this, this is going to deal 200% more damage to to enemies that are under 50% health. So make sure you're doing this to enemies that are under that much health, because you'll be doing so much more damage. On your back bar, you're going to be using Blur, which is going to be your source of Major Resolve and Minor Evasion, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 6,000. Also, it's going to reduce your damage taken from AoEs by 10%. So it's going to be a nice little form of damage mitigation. I put on Siphoning Strikes on here because it's going to give you some magic and stamina back. In Vengeance, I always have trouble sustaining, so this is going to be a great way to make sure that you're sustaining a lot better. Resolving Vigor, this is a nice 6-second heal over time, helps you out so much. And then we've got Vengeance Offering, which is going to be a kind of your burst heal on here. So it's going to be a little bit less healing than your other builds, but I feel like with Shadowy Cloak, you're going to be able to mitigate a lot of damage by going invisible. So I think it's more than fine. And then we've also got Weakness to Elements, which is going to be your source of Major Breach on your enemies, reducing their physical and spell resistance by 6,000. And then I've got Warhorn on here, which is going to seriously increase your magic and stam recovery by 2,500 for 6 seconds. So that is so much. You get so much recovery for that. So definitely use this one. Now, I have to say, Necromancer was a little bit more difficult to put together, but I don't recommend running this because I don't think Necromancer is going to be any good in here, but this is the best that I could come up with for things that we're going to run. So definitely as our spam, but we're going to be using Uppercut because that's kind of the best way to go with this. Also, we're going to be using Spirit Mender, which is going to be a 5-second heal over time. I wanted to put this on my front bar so I didn't need to always go to my back bar to kind of get myself some healing and help myself. I put on Grave Grasp on here because that's going to be a nice way to immobilize your enemy. So it's going to waste a lot of their stamina because they're going to have to either stay there or just not move, or just roll dodge. So it's going to be one of the two. Sacrificial Bones, which is going to be your source of Major Berserk, increasing your damage done by 10% for 10 seconds. Also, Reverse Slash, which is going to be your Execute. So when your enemies are below 50% health, it's going to do a lot more damage. And then we've got Berserker Strike on here. I kind of like the way Berserker Strike looks a lot more than overall Dawnbreaker this Vengeance campaign. So that's why we're just running Berserker Strike and everything. I just think that this looks great. This source of damage between Berserker Strike, and if you have that with Major Berserk going active and then Uppercut, I feel like you're going to be doing a lot of damage to your enemies. Also, we've got Bitter Harvest, which is going to be a nice little heal for you. You're also going to get some ultimate back. And then on top of that, you're going to be getting Major Protection for 10 seconds as well. So it's going to reduce your damage taken by 10%. So that's nice. And then we've got Expunge, which is going to just kind of cleanse 2 negative effects from you. So that's a great way to kind of mitigate any incoming damage. Also, while slotted on either bar, you're going to get 150 magic and stamina back. So that's really good for your overall sustain. Vigor, 6-second heal over time. It's great. Awesome. Render Flesh is going to be your burst heal. It's not the best burst heal in the game because it's going to apply Minor Defile to you. But overall, I think it's fine. It's going to be a great way to kind of combo your abilities and make sure that you're just staying up and staying healthy. Bone Armor, this is going to be your source of Major Resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 6,000. Also, you're going to be counting as a corpse, so once every 10 seconds. So that's really good for your overall damage mitigation. And then on the back bar, I've got a Bone Goliath transformation. That way, it's kind of that uh-oh kind of situation. You're going to get your max health increased significantly. And so this is going to help you get so much damage mitigation. It's going to make it so that if in case you're really running low on resources and you need to survive, you can use this and you'll be alive for a while longer at least. All right, and finally for Arcanist. For Arcanist, it's kind of more simple. So we're going to be using Fake Carve. It's going to be your kind of source of burst damage, but you kind of have to line this up very specifically. You're going to be using Eldritch Horror as well, which is going to be your stun on your enemy. So it's going to completely CC him. It's also going to play minor vulnerability to them for 10 seconds, increasing their damage taken by 5%. So that's a great way to kind of go forward. We're going to be having Bearer's Inspiration, which is going to be your source of Minor Force and also Major Prophecy and Savagery. So it's going to increase your overall critical by a ton. Make sure you have this active. Also, Rune Blades, this is going to be a nice little bit of damage, but what's really cool about this is this is going to be it's going to be generating Cruxes. So you want to generate Cruxes, you want to be using 3 stacks of the Cruxes because it's going to increase your overall damage done by Fake Carver, and I'll get to that in a second. And then Abyssal Impact, this is going to be your kind of source of burst damage, but not really in a way. You're just comboing a lot of abilities together on this one. But what's going to happen is they're going to be immobilized for 3 seconds. So when they're immobilized, they can't move. A lot of times your enemies will roll dodge. So what you want to do is you hit them with the immobilize, and then 2 seconds later, hit them with the Eldritch of Horror, which is great because then they'll be CC'd and they'll be standing in the exact spot right there. And then that's when you hit them with the Fake Carver, and that's when they take so much damage right there. From there, we also have Dual Wield Ultimate on here because we're just kind of having a lot of just pressure on this build. We're having a lot of dot pressure between Fake Carver and everything. So if you have Lacerate on here, if you hit this before you do your combo, they're taking a ton of pressure. Also, we've got Runespite Ward, which is going to be a little bit of a shield, but also it's going to consume your Cruxes. So if you want to stay defensive, be smart about this. It will consume your Cruxes, but that is more than fine. It's better to stay alive than anything. We have Rune Mend, which is a nice little bit of a heal. It's going to help you out a ton. So if you combo this Rune Mend with Vigor, this is a great way to heal yourself and keep yourself alive. And then we've got Runic Defense, which can be a source of Minor Resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 3,000. Also, it's going to give you Minor Protection, reducing your damage taken by 5%. So that's great. And then Fate Warfare Armor, which is going to be your source of Major Resolve, increasing your armor by 6,000. Also, it's going to be applying Minor Breach to all of your enemies by up to, which is going to reduce their armor by 3,000. So that's a great way to just increase their damage taken. And then we have Gibbering Shield, which is a great way to just mitigate a lot of damage as well. It's going to absorb 60% of all incoming damage for 10 seconds. And then after that 10 seconds, Shield is going to collapse. It's going to do a ton of damage to enemies around that area as well. So that is overall all the sets that I would run in Vengeance and all those setups that I would run in Vengeance for all the different skill lines. I hope that this helped. I really am not the biggest fan of Vengeance, but that's neither here nor there. I hope that you guys enjoy this week. It's going to be an interesting one. So if you guys are celebrating the Vengeance campaign, go have fun. I hope that you enjoy yourself. What class are you looking forward to playing the most during the Vengeance campaign? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Later.